Hello and welcome to another episode of Robo Talk with XLR8. I'm your host, Andrew. I'm here with Zach.
What's up?
Jacob.
Hi.
And we have a special guest here today. We have Sean from Squirrel.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about current tech news. First, we're going to have Jacob talking about iodine in satellite ion thrusters. Take it away, Jacob.
So, currently, how most spacefaring vehicles, not really vehicles, mostly satellites work, is they send them up using rocket fuel, and then a lot of them have ion thrusters that use xenon gas. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And the way that those work is they just ionize the gas, and then they shoot it out, as opposed to using rocket fuel, because rocket fuel is inefficient to carry and to produce lift. So, space travel is currently using xenon, which is all right, but it's expensive and it's kind of hard to get a hold of. And so scientists have found a way to safely contain iodine in a solid form and use it for ion thrust in space. I think that's pretty cool.
So it's iodine thrusters instead of xenon thrusters.
Yes, and it shoots out tiny particles. So
is it more efficient or less efficient?
Well, so the only tests that they've had were on small scale. So overall efficiency is kind of hard to tell at this point. But it's a good step because iodine is easier to produce and cheaper to have. The only downside to it was, in the past, containing it would corrode everything. So now they keep it in ceramic.
Cool.
So is it supposed to give more thrust than xenon, or is it about the same?
It doesn't need to be more than xenon, because you don't need a lot to stay in orbit, and that's all that they're using it for. They just push up a little bit when they're getting out of orbit. They just to maintain orbit.
Okay.
Neat.
Now, bones aren't ceramics, but researchers at the University of Arizona have developed an osteosurface electronics, which means it's on your bones.
Ceramically bonded to your... That's cool.
Yeah. So these electronics, they attach to your bone to monitor bone health and surrounding muscle health and growth. A lot of use for them is going to come through remodeling and like fixing a broken arm to monitor how that's going, so you can better get medicated for not having your arm be broken. They use a ceramic glue, which makes your bone, kind of tricks your bone into thinking that the glue is part of your bone, so it doesn't shed it off while it's regrowing itself. Which I think could be useful if they just put that on a broken bone, but I feel like that's going to make it weaker. That's just my impressions of the glue, but
Yeah. Maybe like a leadway into like starting to do augments for different things.
Or just like multi-material construction of bones.
Yeah.
Like if you just lose a chunk to something, they could replace it
Yeah.
instead of like taking a long time. Stuff that corrodes over time.
Over time, yeah.
That's going to be expensive, though.
well, it's
It's
early.
cheaper than a titanium thing that has to get replaced every 5 to 6 years.
Well,
There's
yeah.
also no batteries in it. It uses near field communication to get the data out from your leg or other bones.
So the same stuff Skylanders use to remember data.
Wait, seriously?
Or
Yeah. They use
more
near field.
more commonly, what phones use for wireless payment.
No,
Skylanders.
Skylanders.
Induction.
Skylanders is the main talking point here, okay? I was a big fan of Skylanders as a child.
Who wasn't?
I don't even know what that is. Oh wait, no, it's those little toy things, or isn't it where it had Spyro?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't get into
Where
that.
you had to buy a
That was
bunch of
too,
them.
that was too nerdy for me.
It was an expensive
It
game,
was
but
too
it was
nerdy.
fun.
Okay.
I just
I'm
got
sure.
Webkins.
Who didn't though?
He was like, yeah, I got Pokemon cards, but yeah, I'm not that nerdy.
I don't do Pokemon. Well, not when I was a kid.
Do you Yu-Gi-Oh? Magic?
No.
I never got
I've
into
dabbled,
Yu-Gi-Oh
but
either.
not like full on
I've
played.
Good. Good.
To go along with different medical equipment, there's a bunch of researchers at Princeton University that have developed a camera that is roughly size of a grain of salt. It uses topology known as meta surface, not Facebook,
Meta.
with 1.6 million cylindrical posts. Meta surface cameras have already been produced, but because of a few design changes and a better imaging processing, this is best performing meta surface camera to date. These have the opportunity to be easily mass produced and integrated into devices. Phones could use this technology to remove the standard lens camera on the back of your phone. Tiny camera has a comparable performance to a 6-lens camera setup with a bit of distortion around the edges of the image. One biggest application of this technology could be in a medical camera that would be less invasive and possibly harming to a patient.
Just itty bitty little camera.
Very tiny.
That just work.
Well, work. Currently, they're kind of eh. I mean, they're actually they are comparable to, I think it said it was like 500,000 times its volume, a bigger camera, which
So 500,000 grains.
who knows how big that is.
About a salt shake.
Does anybody want
Really?
a grain
Yeah.
of salt?
Oh. Well, when I read this, I was like, well, I don't know how big that is, but they said in the article that it was like a 6-lens setup, and I mean, pictures here, they look all right compared to what they were.
That's impressive. Actually.
For a grain of salt,
Yeah.
it sure is. It's
Like,
made out of
That's like color, like megapixel and a half. That's like
is
impressive.
Now, like, what is even the...
made of glass, kind of. It's made of a glass-like substance.
How do they get the data off of it?
Yeah.
That is a good
Or
question.
is it just like a single exposure?
And then what's the highest quality you can get from that
NFC,
camera? Can it
no.
do like 8K or something like that? Or is it...
That was the picture. The old one was like all refracted.
Oh,
And the new
I'll put
one
it back up.
Was like a decent megapixel to megapixel.
Oh, I just saw the picture of the camera.
Those are good questions that I do not.
Oh,
know the answer to.
okay.
It's actually pretty impressive.
That is. It's
Especially-
not
It's
8K
pretty-
quality.
Well,
but
it's pretty
that's
impressive
pretty good.
for
Well,
how big it is.
so-
Yeah.
Imagine scaling it up like 4x, get a lot higher resolution because you have more room.
Yeah. And because it's, a grain of salt, it's like medical cameras are pretty big at the moment, I think. I've never been probed.
Endoscopes.
even getting like, because a lot of those, well, not a lot of those, but bigger versions of the meta surface camera would, have a higher resolution, but, it'd be less invasive.
Yeah.
If they're just like flat, itty bitty little things, like if you have a cardiovascular issue, just like pop it in there, pass on.
Mm.
Hopefully
Little-
not. Hopefully you don't pass on.
Just make a little drone that drives around.
Oh, jeez.
The camera leaves, you stay.
Now, when you think of Adidas, you might think of a store that just sells shoes.
Or
But-
sports.
I think it's sportswear.
Yeah.
Yes, all.
That or Russia.
Okay, well,
I think a Russian F1.
Tracksuits.
Or if we want to get into the topic of today's subject, NFTs.
Fun.
yeah, maybe not another country, Zach. I don't know if we should leave that in, or...
They're from Russia.
Is Adidas from Russia?
Yeah.
I think of Adidas F1.
Okay, anyways.
F1 racing.
Adidas has partnered with the crypto trading platform Coinbase. The nature and the purpose of their partnership is unclear right now, but with the foundations of another metaverse, not Facebook, being laid out, you can probably guess what's gonna go on. Within the same week, they've also acquired a section of land in the NFT-based game, The Sandbox. The Sandbox is a finite digital space where the owner of the digital land can create games, host events, or make money by monetizing assets. The Sandbox has a high buying cost, but looks very interesting.
Just looking at the article, I love their NFT profile. It's a beautiful, beautiful.
Is it a monkey?
It is a monkey in a yellow hat, and it looks like a jacket.
Jack,
No, that's a different thing. That's that's something else.
That
Yeah, that is a different thing. That is a different article.
No, look on the article by Gaddis.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Their Twitter
Oh.
profile.
It's that.
it's
the
what?
monkey.
Oh my! It is
It
actually.
is.
That's fun. It actually looks like a bit like a monkey wearing like some yellow Adidas sportswear.
Yeah, there you go.
That's like a good match.
Yeah, no.
So they're going into crypto, a shoe
Well,
or a
they're going
sportswear,
To possibly digital marketing.
digital marketing.
So does that mean that they're just going to be trading in crypto? Or are they going to be making crypto?
Who knows?
Unclear currently, but a partnership with Coinbase could mean that you could buy your next pair of track pants. Bitcoin.
It looks like
Ooh.
it's distributing its own NFTs going forward.
And
Making some more of that money.
More money, more
if
money.
NFTs keep going.
Money, money, money,
Better
money.
be. Otherwise, I need to find a job.
The topic of things that have to keep going. Blockchain sites. We're going to lead it off to Jacob talking about El Salvador in their Bitcoin status.
Well, so El Salvador is in the planning stage of making a city near a volcano that is kind of based around Bitcoin. It's going to be a normal city by most standards, like restaurants, entertainment, airplanes, airports. I mean, they might make airplanes, I don't know. But they're going to be by a volcano because geothermal energy will power Bitcoin mining for the city. And El Salvador has made a Bitcoin bond of like $1 billion. It's a lot of money. But so they're going to build this big old city, and it'll be the first country to accept Bitcoin as a legal tender. And it will have no taxes other than like invisible taxes based on products having work done.
If this city isn't called Bittopia, then I don't want it.
Like on the topic of those taxes, it's not really invisible tax, it's just built-in tax.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's taxes that kind of already exist. Like, it's like the price of getting something manufactured. Like, so in air conditioning, you have all the parts, and then they're added on by the manufacturer, I think, is how
So
I
like a lot of
understand it.
European countries have like value-added tax.
That's what it is.
where the value of the tax is just tacked on to the price of the original thing, so you don't need to calculate when you're purchasing.
Yeah, it's a VAT.
Now, if you think about what powers Bitcoin, you might think graphics cards. And we have Sean here to tell you about the different ways that graphics card companies are kind of bringing back old cards through this chip shortage that we are going through.
To help ease this massive shortage for all the gamers out there, Nvidia is working on re-releasing the 1050 under the new RTX label instead of the GTX label, which is allowing for more RAM for your average gamer, for leading to higher performance. It also is going to help with the lower end market, allowing people that otherwise weren't able to purchase a GPU at that price range to get what they want. On a similar topic, the RTX 2060 is getting re-released with double the previous amount of VRAM, upping it all the way to 12 gig, which is going to help with the shortages for mid-range cards to help reduce scalping, which is really nice. And it's only happening 2 years later, so it's pretty much just a V2 instead of a change. The prices will be the same, and it's designed to play games. They're not aiming for ray tracing with the 2060, but they are focusing on mid-range gaming, so like 1440p mid to high settings.
Better than my graphics card.
It's
better
good to
than
see that they're actually trying to help with the chip shortage, and because chips are at such a high demand.
Uh-huh.
On a similar line, they're adding a new 30 series card, the RTX 3050, to be like a modern replacement for the budget 1050, which is good to see. It's mainly for Intel's Arc Assault. Not sure what that is.
It's like a new brand of computer that they're making, or
It's competing with Intel's Arc family of graphics cards. So it's made to beat out Intel's secondary graphics. That's cool.
Rather a direct name, Arc Assault
Okay.
on the Arc.
Yeah, Nvidia's re-releasing 2 GPUs and hopefully coming out with a third new one to help quell the GPU chip shortage and compete with Intel's up and rising GPU.
Thank you, Sean. And now that we kind of go into the other realm instead of computer graphics, there is a handheld graphic market. Now, Qualcomm, the
Sponsor.
makers,
Sponsor.
sponsor of First Tech Challenge,
Not of us.
has made multiple phones that power our world, and they are teaming up with Razer to make a handheld device. They have announced just today that they're stepping into the gaming space with their own handheld device. It's called the Razer Snapdragon G3X. It's a developer kit based off of Android OS. It's a handheld gaming device that runs all Android games and streams games on the cloud from your console or PC.
Is it just me, or does that look like a better PS Vista?
Yeah.
Hey, don't be hating on the PS Vista.
No, I said a better. It was never a bad console.
It sort of looks like a mix between a Switch.
An Xbox and a PS Vista, like an Xbox controller and a PS Vista.
Yeah, it looks clean though.
I like how they have the screen inset the way it is.
Yeah, hopefully they'll have some FTC teams try it out for us.
That'd be cool.
There is a spec sheet, a Qualcomm Arduino GPU able to run games at 144 frames per second, a 6.65 inch 120 Hz OLED display with full HD plus resolution, a built-in 5 megapixel 1080p 60 webcam with 2 mics, 4-way speakers, haptic feedback, active cooling, Wi-Fi 6 and 6E support, and 5G. And sub 6, a USB-C port as well. Kind of competing, like we said, with the Nintendo Switch and some of the other Android-based handhelds.
My
Don't
question
forget-
is, what's the battery life gonna be? Because that's some high spec on like main components like that. Wi-Fi is gonna be a power hog,
Yeah,
and if it's 5 gigahertz and millimeter wave, that's another power.
Isn't that the same problem that the a Steam Deck
Was having Steam Deck.
it's
Yeah.
Steam Deck.
Steam Deck was having?
Yeah, similar idea. They put too powerful of secondary components that their main like performance stuff wasn't working too hot.
What's weird is that they have such a nice camera, webcam on there. It's like,
Is it made for like portable streaming almost?
Yes, that's what all of these are, is like portable, like on-the-go Twitch streaming. And it's really weird.
that seems like it's like you could put something else in there that will help it, and then
But
That's
why
a
do that?
really good Qualcomm mobile GPU, but where's the CPU to handle encoding and output?
yeah.
I'm recording live on on a bus. Like, what?
And the name, I get that the name is like a developer kit stuff, so they have to put like as much information in it, but that's just gonna like push people away. Because like the G3X was an old Snapdragon processor, if my memory is right.
Snapdragon's on going to be little firecracker.
Wait, are they showing Minecraft Dungeons on
It
that?
says
No
Victory 7,
Yeah,
and
no,
it looks like it's a Xbox.
like Minecraft.
I've never played it.
That looks like Minecraft Dungeons. That's funny.
So as you all know, Android is a OS, but Raspberry Pi has a new OS called Legacy to target bullseye problems. And here is Sean to talk about it.
Well, like Raspberry Pi in the past few years has been making a lot of itty bitty little changes to their stuff, making OS compatibility an issue based on the minimum amount of storage you can put in the device. So to hit some of those issues, Raspberry Pi has released a new version of their Debian OS running on Debian Bullseye to allow older models of the Raspberry Pi to have the features of the new ones and have all the software accelerated bits and pieces to match what the current security standards are. And it's bringing support of 64-bit OS to the older stuff.
So does that mean they're making a Raspberry Pi phone?
I wouldn't be upset with that.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Why?
Like, at one point that'd be kind of cool, but then another point is like...
But that's like the perfect dockable phone. You put like a Raspberry Pi 4
goodness.
like hardware into a phone shell because you only need
computer.
one port because you can power it and run a display off of the USB-C port on that.
Aw.
And then you split that port off again because USB-C supports docking, so you can have charging display and a USB hub built in. That's just like a low power dockable phone. And if you put a toggleable like 720p display on the thing,
I have an idea.
that'd be pretty sleek. And especially since they came out with like the Raspberry Pi Nano, a new one fairly recently that actually supports up to a 4K monitor
Dang.
at 30 hertz, but it's still not bad for a computer at half the width of a credit card.
Yeah.
What if you just phone and then you wore a backpack that was a computer all the time and it was plugged in?
Yes, I
Yeah,
see. That
yeah.
wouldn't be very mobile now, would it?
It would be very mobile.
It'll be just as mobile as those giant phones.
Extremely. It's just as mobile as the mobile VR.
Have you all seen the No Phone?
The who?
The No
What?
Phone. It's just a block. For people who are addicted to their phone, it's just this block.
It's just a block. It doesn't do anything.
Yes,
It's like,
exactly. Yes, it's just a block.
Speaking of phones, there was something on the news about how foldable phones sales are up like 500% from last year. Well, no, that sounds impressive, but how many foldable phones were out last year? So
I know like 2 people that have
I'm just
them.
saying why.
the only foldable phone I would ever want is if they bring back the flip phones. I don't want my screen to be able to have a crease in it,
Oh
and
my
then
goodness,
like
it'd be so
only
nice.
has a certain amount of folds you can do until the screen just breaks.
If I can live with a notch, I could just live with like a display cutoff seam that you could fold backwards, so you could have like a 2-sided phone, just like a taller phone with like a center screen notch.
Uh-huh.
I'd be fine with that, and then you can fold it closed to protect the screen.
Or if they just made it where it was just a membrane that was in between.
Are you
like,
talking like
the
the
hinges.
Microsoft, like the new Microsoft phone that they made? Are you talking about like that type of phone?
I don't know, maybe
what if you had like the
like a flip phone that's a little bit wider with a screen on each side but nothing connecting them.
what if you had like the Price is Right, whatever the game is, the flip flop where it slides down to one side or the other side instead of just rotating your phone, it goes.
Yes, but stacked vertically.
Oh.
Oh, we
That'd be
looked
cool.
up the
That'd be
Surface
cool.
Like in a flip phone format, it's like you have the keyboard built into the bottom part, and then you just put a display on the top.
Uh-huh.
I'd be fine with that.
And then those advertisement for those phones, there's like one that's like flip, flop, click, clack, or something like that.
What the
It's like,
I'd
why
almost-
would you want your phone to make those sounds?
I'd almost want to try the LG. Was it Flip? Is it?
There's a very thick phone. but I
No,
don't think that
remember
a
there was
foldable
an
one.
LG one that it was the LG Wing, wasn't it? Was
Maybe.
it called that? It was like the one phone that like went like horizontal.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Ah.
So it like it's essentially a phone, and like the screen came out from under it on a hinge, and it just flipped to a horizontal position.
I'm just waiting. For
I'd be
just-
willing to try it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't daily drive it. but-
No.
I'm just waiting for like, you know how these smart watches are. It just everything's on the watch, but you don't need a phone
Wearable
anymore. It's just
technology.
all on the
yeah.
watch, and then you'll have like smart glasses, something like that, and that's your
Oh
screen.
my goodness, the smart glasses right now.
Speaking of which, like
Yeah, they're so bad.
watch-
Like I was so excited for the Google Glass, and then it's like,
it died.
eh.
Speaking of which, like the smartwatch thing, I saw on the top of your like Raspberry Pi stuff, someone took a SIM card into the new Raspberry Pi Nano, and they just made a phone emulator, so that they
Oh.
just threw it in their pocket. It was just low power, so it's an itty bitty battery.
Huh.
It was like they made it to about the size of a credit card. You technically could fit it in your wallet, and it just drove your like. They were running it on like one of the Samsung smartwatches. They're activewear smartwatches.
There's a bunch of like GoFundMe, bunch of GoFundMe like scam type things, but like an all-in-one smartwatch where you just go wow, and then it's your phone on your arm.
Oh, it's the display thing.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
it
the
was like a projector.
Oh,
No, I
it's
had to
so
make one of those
bad.
in high school. Like, I was like, it was a design class. I made one of those.
Fake GoFundMe?
No, not like fake GoFundMe, but like a watch that turns into a phone in your arm.
That's an interesting concept, but I just don't see
It doesn't
it functional.
Yeah.
Unless we made some revolutionary like technology in it. There's
Or it's
no
all holograms.
I don't know. They have that projected keyboard. That's terrible.
way. That is
Does
so...
that even work?
The laser
works.
keyboards are interesting.
I-
They emit a lot of radiation that's kind of
Oh,
sketchy. They have a lot of laser radiation.
You could use this really cool, but you may get cancer.
Something,
But no, like they put
radiation.
it, they have ionizing radiation,
Oh,
not just like
that's
infrared
the
radiation.
bad stuff.
That's
Yeah,
that's the real bad stuff.
Like the expensive ones, like $100 to $200 ones, like you have infrared radiation, so your hands get hot like after prolonged usage.
Oh,
But it's not like.
But is it laser?
We just bring
Yeah.
an X-ray into your house and zap your hand.
Yeah. X-ray for 5 hours a day.
And on that note, I would like to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Robo Talk with XLR8. My name is Andrew. I'm here with Zach again,
yep.
Jacob,
Hello.
and our special guest, Sean. Also, Sean, I would like to thank you for being here on this podcast today.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
I would like to thank you all for listening and have a great day. Peace.